Right. Hello all. So this time, like, when I normally make videos, it's because I'm tutoring physiology or tutoring something else. But I'm gonna try something new. I'm gonna making videos just giving exercise physiology tips and tips how to get in shape, how to weightlift, how to train, correct form, how to maximize things on supplements, whatever, pretty much whatever. But for now, I'm just going to choose some topics that I can talk about, and I just want to share and spread to people to alert them of different things and misconceptions that they might have to certain, this instance, this video will be on creatine supplements. I just want to talk about what it actually is and what it actually does, because it's very hard to find true information or clinical information on supplements in today's media, because people are trying to sell shit, and most things on the market all are bullshit. They don't do anything for your body. They're just a waste of money. But now everything I'm going to teach and tell you about creatine is from this book. So I'm not just going to say this study shows, cite all these studies, and then have someone call me out and say, oh, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Well, everything I'm talking about creatine is found in this book. So Essentials of Creatine in Sports and Health, and creatine is used to treat like Parkinson's, muscular dystrophy, Lou Gehrig disease, and any muscular disorder. So creatine is used in a clinical setting, not just to gain strength and power and whatnot. And it's written by 3 exercise physiologists. They have a PhD, so they know what they're talking about. So everything in this book is not bullshit and whatnot. Essentially, this is all a book of 20 years of creatine research. Creatine on strength, creatine on endurance, creatine in a health setting, and whatnot. In health benefits and possible health bullshit myths about creatine. So if you're interested in creatine at all and interested in gaining strength gains, mass gains, whatever, I would definitely recommend get this book. It is pretty pricey. It's like $150. That's because it's a true research book. It's not just a book, but I would definitely recommend getting this if you're interested in creatine. If you want to read for yourself instead of listening to some kid talk about it. But excellent book. Everything I'm teaching comes from this book. Now, creatine is one of the most clinically studied it's the one most heavily studied. Clinically studied doesn't make sense. It's one of the most heavily studied and used, and it sells the most popular supplement since the 1990s. It's been the first research article on creatine appeared in the 1990s. It's one of the most clinically studied supplements out there, and it's one of the most popular supplements because it actually works. And most simple supplements, and pretty much works. Now, creatine it's considered an ergogenic aid, which ergogenic means essentially it's just a supplement that you take outside of your dietary consumption, whatever, to get performance enhancing gains. And performance enhancing, I don't mean steroids and drugs and all that shit. That's not natural. Because creatine, for people who say, like, one myth about creatine that people say they don't want to take creatine because they may not understand it is they want to be natural. They think creatine isn't natural. It's considered dirty, whatever, cheating. Well, your body makes creatine. So if you think taking creatine means you're unnatural, well, you should probably tell your body to stop making creatine because it makes it. And creatine is also found in any animal product, any beef, chicken, fish. It's found in nuts in some small extent. So you should probably stop eating all food if you want to avoid creatine. Just saying that. And your body makes creatine. It's a perfectly natural, it's in your body. People born without the ability to make creatine, they have mental retardation, muscular diseases, neurodegenerative diseases. So creatine is very essential for everyone, whether you're supplementing, whatever. Now, your body normally makes creatine about 2 grams a day. Your body normally excretes about 2 grams a day. So your body stays in homeostasis of creatine. Now, when it comes to supplementation, again, I'm going to say research says, but research shows that when you supplement with creatine, you increase your maximum strength, your maximum power, your lean body mass, and you essentially make all your training much more, like 100% more effective in the gym. More power, more strength. It's a significant difference. So it's not technically cheating by taking creatine. It's natural. Your body makes creatine. Now, the way creatine works, because I'll explain how it works, because many supplements that people take, they don't understand what the fuck they do and how they actually work in the body. So because they don't understand how they work, they might not even be doing anything, which is it's the case 99% of the time that the supplement you're taking does not really do anything in the body. It just has a fancy label and a fancy bottle that says, oh, scientifically proven to lose weight in 7 days, gain this much strength, gain 300 pounds in your bench press in a week, or something like that. And people fall for it, and they spend money on it, and it doesn't work, and then they're disappointed and sad and everything. So if you understand what the products actually do, just because it has a fancy name that you can't pronounce doesn't mean it does anything in the body. You have to understand what it does. Creatine in the body, essentially what creatine does is, in order to contract, in order to do any muscular movement, your body uses a molecule called ATP. ATP is like money. Just think of money. You can't do anything in the world without money. Or your body can't do anything. Like I can't move my arm without ATP contracting my muscles. So when you first start exercising, you first start curling, benching, whatever the hell you're doing, moving, jumping, you start contracting your muscles. Your muscles, you burn the ATP that you have inside that muscle, and the ATP burns extremely fast. Once you're out of that ATP, you're kind of exhausted of energy. But of course, there's other ways to get energy in the body, as you probably know, because you don't just like stop exercising after you exhaust the ATP. What creatine does is it reforms that ATP. So as you break down the ATP, the creatine reforms it. So that's how creatine works in the body. It reforms ATP so it can keep exercising longer. Now, there's only enough creatine in the body and enough of this fast energy system, it's called the phosphagen energy system, to fuel about 10 to 20 seconds of high intensity exercise. That's not a long period of time, but 10 to 20 seconds, well, that's weightlifting, bodybuilding. Most lifts take a massive amount of power in a very fast time period. You curl, it only takes like 5 to 10 seconds. So you have a perfect amount of energy. You're jumping, you're sprinting, it only takes about 20 seconds. It's a power exercise, so creatine is useful. Whereas if you're doing an endurance event where you're running or you're doing a marathon, creatine doesn't really help. And again, research shows that. This book shows that. Research does not help. Well, creatine does not help with endurance events. It helps with strength events or high intensity events like soccer, football, anything explosive and high intense. And the way to get these benefits is pretty much every single study that's been done since the 1990s. If you search creatine in PubMed, which PubMed is like the hub of all research articles in natural library of medicine. If you search creatine, there's over, I think now, 1,000 peer-reviewed articles on creatine. Just read any of them. Essentially, all of them you need a dosage of 5 grams a day in order to get benefits. 5 grams a day. That doesn't say 6 grams. It doesn't say 7 or 10. So if people taking 10 grams a day, whatever, they're wasting their money and wasting their time. You don't need to take that much creatine a day. 5 grams a day for studies are usually 28 days, but of course, if you take 5 grams a day, you probably want to do it for like the whole time you're training because it's beneficial. You can't overdose on creatine, or there's no myths, whatever, which all that liver disease, bloating, all that bullshit. That stuff doesn't happen with creatine. Now, I'll make a whole other video about that because I want to keep this under 10 minutes. But essentially, you need 5 grams a day for pretty much, I'll take it every single day you're training. And what this does is this, it's usually you have like a week loading period where like this is like your pre-supplementation level of creatine in the body. And then when you take 5 grams a day, slowly over 20 days, you get to like this level. Much higher, significantly higher. Now, some people hear about creatine loading, which is beneficial. It is taught, and I do creatine loading. Creatine loading is you take 20 grams a day for like 5 days, so your level spikes up like up here. And then you take 5 grams a day for the rest of the month, and it goes down. So if you take, that's what some people might think, oh, I'll take 40 grams and it'll go this high. And no, it doesn't do that. If you take 20 grams, it goes this high. That's the highest you can probably get it. And then it goes a little bit down, take 5 grams a day. Now, the thing about this is it's this level. If you take 5 grams a day for 28 days or for a long period of time, you reach the same exact level. So that's saying you don't need a creatine load. It's just if you want to reach results faster in like a week compared to a month. So that's why you have a creatine load. The way creatine works is people think because the more creatine you have, the more intense your lifts can be and the more intense your training sessions can be. And if you know that the more intense your sessions are, the more energy and power you have to lifts. If you can do like 2 more reps, 3 more reps, that makes your training session more beneficial. And you can have, and for people who know exercise physiology, If your training session is more beneficial, you can break down your muscles to a greater extent. If you can break down your muscles to a greater extent, you have a greater physiological adaptation, and that means your muscles grow back stronger. It's just a fancy word for your muscles grow back stronger, which is the point of weightlifting. Whereas if you're not taking creatine, your workout is not as intense because you just don't have as much power. It's just physiological. You can't force your muscles to have more power if your muscles physiologically don't have molecules that have more power. So your workout's not as intense, so you don't break your muscles down as much as someone with creatine supplementation would, and thus your physiological gains are not as great. So that's how creatine works. Creatine works. Take creatine. If you have any other questions about creatine, just ask them, whatever. And pretty much the thing that pisses me off the most is that when people go out and go to GNC, go to NutriShop, whatever, and they buy all these bullshit supplements because the professional on the counter tells them that, oh, this definitely increases strength, blah, 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 or this does this, and people fall for it and they spend $80 to $100 because they do get that expensive on supplements. And really the supplement is a piece of shit, and it might have the right ingredients that are actually beneficial, but they're in such insignificant amounts in the body where they don't do anything. Like one is my VitaPack. My friend spent $100 on VitaPack GNC Strength, which is pretty much, it's a $100 vitamin. That's what he bought. That's all it is. Okay, this video is already over 10 minutes, so this is it on creatine. So pretty much in verdict, creatine works. Take creatine. Creatine is really the only supplement that you need to take, and it works.